The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm in the car this morning, not driving though.
Oh, good.
I'm actually in my driveway because they've got the HVAC cleaning going on in my house. I don't think y'all want to hear hear a bunch of vacuum machines going or whatever they use there.
No, I just want to hear the suction how they're vacuuming your wallet.
Yeah.
Which ad on Facebook?
It's the fine folks at App. It's the fine folks at App are doing it.
I like App. App's a go-to place. I would go there.
They're a very well-run company. I've known some of the App family for many years, going back to the Morton Grove days,
I'm sure they say the same about you.
Ricky might, but they used to be a little storefront in Niles on Dempster Street, which is now like a ethnic grocery store. That's how much they've grown over the years. So they're a very well-run business. They keep expanding down there in Glenview.
Well, you throw Ricky's name around. Why don't we get him on the show? I'm kind of interested to hear that.
I mean, what's the tie into Lake Forest other than they do
that we're talking about it because
appliances?
it's a great freaking company. That's why.
Yeah, but they're in Glenview. They're not in Lake Forest. So I don't know. Maybe we can get them to move to Lake Forest out on the west, out by the tollway there, and we get that sales tax revenue with little impact to the city, with little negative impact to the city. Maybe where that Whole Foods project might have gone a few years ago instead of going to Vernon Hills. But I think they're pretty comfortable in Glenview. In fact, I know they're comfortable in Glenview because they're expanding again in Glenview. We were there the other day and they had a sign up, "Pardon our dust, we're expanding."
Pardon our dust. So, Amazon's going to buy us.
They'll never sell to Amazon.
Why not?
They have had many offers to be bought out by a lot of big companies and become a franchise and stuff. They're very happy with what they got. That they've been in business since I think 1932. Maybe I think they started with the lantern, but they started off. I think they started off in the city of Chicago, laid down in like Logan Square, back when Logan Square was
back in my hood.
Working class, yeah, they were on Milwaukee Avenue in the city, and even like a smaller storefront. But enough on
I gotta look
enough on that here.
Well, I've
enough
always
on
been
that.
impressed with anybody that can have three letters for a last name. That's awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's ABT," but no, it's apt.
It's ABT.
It's apt. It's apt, and start Mrs. Apt passed away a few years ago, and there was a Bob Apt. Oh, we got a loose dog. We got a loose dog here in the neighborhood. Uh-oh.
Well, keep your door shut.
Nobody's.
Talk about passings away. Virginia McCaskey, moment of silence. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. She's a nice lady. I've been very critical over the years of Bears management, but I don't think I never extended that to her. I think she, um, was a really nice person, and now the son, and I'm sure the Sons are nice guys too, but they just don't know what they're doing running a football team. So, but maybe that'll change now. You got a new coach, and Kevin Warren is in charge, so we shall see what's going on.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, it wasn't so super this year, was it?
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean,
Nice.
you know what? Let me say that I think the world. I think the world now knows Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, and I really am happy for Jalen Hurts. I think he's a good guy that kind of got people were kind of dissing him before that
Yeah, because
on
he
a
never
couple
did anything.
things. Right. Well, now he's
Now he
got a
did.
Super Bowl ring. Look, and Patrick Mahomes will still be a great. Look, Tom Brady lost Super Bowls, and he's still a great, one of the greatest, if not the greatest. And you could say the same thing about Mahomes and Andy Reid and those guys. They're still a great team. They just didn't win this year. So see if they come back next year or what happens. You never know. Maybe next year it'll be the Bears because next year is the 40th anniversary of the '85 Super Bowl team.
Well, we'll see. They're going to get Cooper Cup over, I think. It'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody. I just saw some thing. I think it was an ESPN graphic grading all the coaching hires that were made, and the Dallas Cowboys got an F minus for the Schottenheimer guy. But the Bears they gave an A. So now
It's
they gave the Patriots
Hey
guy.
Joe, it's
Yeah,
Disney.
yeah, I know. So let's see. But I mean, give him some players to work with, right? I mean, a coach is only as good as his players, and we've said that many times here on the show. So I just don't know what. I don't know.
Okay. Can I quote you on that?
That I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez, who would have thought when the Bears won that game in almost 40 years ago that they would never win another Super Bowl and the New England Patriots would go on to win, what was it, five, six Super Bowls
I don't
after
know,
that?
but Belichick's got a lot of rings and he's got that
Yeah,
girl.
his girlfriend. His girlfriend was wearing one of them at the NFL awards show or whatever it was. Yeah, and let's see how he does at North Carolina as the
Let's
head
work the
football
math on
coach.
that. 72 and 24.
Don't do the math. Is that well? That's bigger than the gap between Donald and Melania.
Theirs is what, 15?
I think it's 25
25. We'll have to
or
go to
20 something.
okay, we'll
But
have to go.
she turned 50 a couple years ago, and he's what 75, late 70s, so maybe about 25, give or
Okay.
take.
All right.
Hey, to each his own, right?
That's right,
Love is love.
man. Never argue another man's wallet or wedding ring.
Look at the president of France. He's married to a woman old enough to be his mother.
President of sounds like
Is he president or prime minister? You know what I'm talking about. He's younger. The guy. You
you
see him
know,
meeting. He's met with Trump. He met with Biden. He was there at the grand reopening of the of
has there
Notre
ever
Dame
been a good
Cathedral.
French leader?
De Gaulle.
He's a
I
strong
don't
leader
know.
once
Once
Patton
the
kicks the
U.S.
hell out of
came in with their
everybody.
troops, they still owe us for D-Day.
Trump's fixing that. He's having a hell of a run here, man. You and your Nikki
Yeah,
Haley
though I
party.
would look. Not that he's going to take advice from me on a Lake Forest podcast, but should if by chance he's listening, my
Wait,
advice
hold
to
on. He
him would.
wants to take. You're saying Donald Trump wants to take advice from what
No,
do you
I'm
call
just
yourself?
saying. I did say
Libertarian
my advice would
Republican.
be, I am a libertarian Republican, yes. So, and I think deep down he is too. Um, but because I think he just, I think, I don't think he's all in on the pro-life thing. Um, I think he
I,
just does it because
dude,
politically it's what you need to do as a Republican these days, which I get it, and I respect people who
that's
are
why you're a
pro-life. They're very
libertarian
passionate.
Republican. Why aren't you talking about U.S. aid and all the crap in
That's
there?
a waste of money. Look, I am all for. I look. I've worked in
And stick with
government a
U.S.
good.
aid. What are your opinions on what they found in U.S. aid?
Oh my God, get rid. It's a waste. There's so much waste in federal government. I could show you waste in state government. I mean, there is so much.
Good. Talk about
And I
U.S.
can
aid
remember
waste.
back in the day when I worked
Let's stick with U.S. aid because all that's where all the money went
get
to
the
fund
list out. I don't have the list out. My mouth dropped. I mean, what was the we're spending how much on Iraqi Sesame Street?
20 mil.
That was in the I think that was in the USA.
Yeah.
What the? I mean, that's just crap. Have you seen the Iraqi Sesame Street spoof on
No.
online?
I'm
I'll
still
send it to
stuck
you.
on that.
It's a bit politically incorrect, but it's very funny.
The United States government is sending out checks with no
Yeah.
memos.
I just there is like I said, I am cut taxes, obviously, cut spending because you really and if you do those two things, you will get inflation under control. Okay? The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of just about everything will come down if you reduce both taxes and spending. Focus on that because you've heard that phrase from me a million times that James Carville first said, it's the economy, stupid.
Great. Let's
Don't
go back to
worry.
U.S. aid and let's see how much more
Yeah.
of that money has been funding the other side, like PBS and all that stuff.
Is that US aid though, or is that some other
That's
part?
all the different corporations that you just whip up some LLCs together and you put this stuff together.
Yeah, no, I look, I that's all waste. And I'm glad he is attacking that. I'm glad he's brought someone like Elon in.
Well,
I
people
think that
don't.
was a good move, and people can lose their minds over it because of what they think of Elon, though he was the darling of the left before he supported Trump. Everybody in
Well, yeah,
Highland Park had
Obama gave them that money.
everybody in Highland Park had a Tesla. When he was a liberal. So, you know, that's all. And that we talked about it last week, that Nazi salute was not a Nazi salute. I watched that video 20 times. He was just raising his hand,
It's a
no
Roman
different than
salute.
no different than Barack Obama. Former President Obama would often I can find videos of him doing virtually the same thing, and no one accused him of being a Nazi. And he's not either. He's Elon's the word Nazi gets thrown around way too much. And it's kind of and I personally I think it's kind of insulting because there really were Nazis that gassed and murdered millions of people in the Holocaust. So to ever accuse somebody that you disagree with politically, like Elon Musk or people on the right did it with Obama, it's insulting to Holocaust survivors, in my opinion.
How about the guy that's employee of the month that was standing guard at the Department of Education
Well, I guess
with
he's a little more
vaccine?
high ranking than people first thought he was like the desk guard or the security guard, but I guess he has a higher title than that.
You,
You can,
hey man,
yeah. I mean, he's kind of. I look. He did his job, right? You're not supposed to come in there, and I mean, they can protest all they want. Like I said, ultimately it's the economy, stupid. So if they can get spending and taxes under control and get inflation down, the majority of people will be happy. Every election in my lifetime, national election,
well,
I can look back to it was a referendum on the economy. What was Reagan's line in 1980? Are you better off than you were 4 years
I
ago?
don't know, but his picture's up in the Oval Office again.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I love it. And I think Reagan would be very impressed with Trump's use of Elon to cut federal spending and cut waste in government. I think Reagan would give a big thumbs up to that thing. I don't waste your oxygen on silly things like renaming the Gulf of Mexico and some of that other silly stuff, because that's a distraction, in my opinion. And it's as stupid as what the DuPage County Democrats just did this week, taking Henry Hyde's name off the courthouse out there. I mean, that's stupid. And I'm pro-choice, but I always respected Henry Hyde. I think he was a dedicated World War II vet. He worked across the aisle with a lot of people in Illinois when he was in Congress back in the day. So to take his name off the building simply because you didn't agree with the Hyde Amendment, which I support the Hyde Amendment. All the Hyde Amendment was saying, look, you have a right to have an abortion, but you don't have a right to have federal tax dollars.
Nobody cares, Joe.
Pay for it. I know. Bill Clinton supported
cares.
the Hyde, but Bill Clinton supported the Hyde Amendment back in the day.
You know what people care about? If there's $1 trillion that's out there that Elon just found, that cuts the debt in half. What does that do for you?
And what do you do with that trillion? Do you give it back to the taxpayers and tax cuts? That's what I'd do.
I think you get back to you get to a surplus.
Rebate. Well, a surplus, yeah, you do a certain amount of things, and I think we do. There's certain areas the government should spend more on, like veterans hospitals. I think, or not necessarily hospitals, but veterans healthcare. I think maybe sometimes the problem is those VA-run hospitals are very inefficient, and it'd be better to have people give them a voucher to go to a private hospital. But I think we need to take care of our vets, and I think if that involves more funding, so be it, because our vets, made the ultimate sacrifice for us, and they deserve the best health care.
That's a great line. I'm sure it'll get in the Lake County Gazette.
They don't quote me no more. That's fine.
No, they put Scoo in there.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah, they put Scoo in there. That's why Scoo's not.
Oh,
come on, Scoo. It's okay, man.
It's okay. When you make the Gazette, it doesn't matter what you say. It's just that everybody in town gets a copy of it in their mailbox and says, "Hey, I saw you on the newspaper."
I don't think I even get it in the mailbox anymore, or it blows away. How many? Is it down to 4 pages? They
did cut back, because they're big environmentalists. They wanted to, reduce the carbon footprint. No. They did cut it back. I think they changed. Somebody told me they changed companies that print it. Yeah. So that was part of it. But you can also go online. They have a website. You can find all their stories online. Somebody needs to be their social media person, because I think their social media has not been updated in a while, their Facebook page and stuff. So maybe you can maybe we can set you up with Danny Proft to be their social media guy. I don't know, but
I can only meet people a couple times. Either they want to do something or they don't. I move forward. So hit Dan and his buddy.
He's a busy man down in Naples. Good grief, I'm forgetting it off the top of my head. And Brian Timponi.
Brian, come on, man. Are we going to do something or what? Losing. Are they still in business?
Dudes. They got. I mean, you remember? There's way more. Yeah, they're still. And they don't just do the Lake County Gazette. They have papers all over the state of Illinois. There's a Springfield one. There's a Cook County one, Chicago one. There's a South Suburban one. I mean, the Gazette is the Lake County version of it, but there's a bunch all over the state.
I haven't heard anything from the Lake Forest Gazette. Those trans people.
Transparency.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they've been. I look. They didn't run anybody against Mayor Tack or council. There was. I don't know if you saw online. There was some updates from the caucus. I believe yesterday or Tuesday. I mean, we record the show on Wednesdays. About the bylaws. Did you have a chance to read Joe Reedy's update on that?
No, I didn't. I totally missed it.
Oh, check it out. It's right. Go on their Facebook page and read it.
Lake County. All right, here, hold on.
Lake Forest Caucus Facebook page.
What did you say? We should be talking about that instead of this other.
Yeah, no, I assumed you read it.
No, hell no.
This morning. My bad. It's
I
there. I mean, maybe we can get Joe on a future show to update us
Nah, we
on
can
what
read
they're
what he
doing
says.
and stuff.
Joe's out.
But
Joe's done.
he's not done yet.
He's done. He's got 2 months.
Two
Want
months. There's still two
Regina.
months. Regina.
All right. So where am I?
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
on
love to
Lake
hear their
Forest.
take on it. So there's that. I think they made a concerted effort to work with some of their critics to address this. And you're never going to make everyone happy, and if you try to, you're going to make somebody else unhappy. But I do think they're trying to work on some ways that are more inclusive. I think online voting, remote voting, if you're not able to go to the vote meeting that night, I think that's one of the proposals that's there. So my kids could cast their ballot from college like they do in regular elections. So I think that's a step forward to allow people, because I always thought, our play pack the place at Gorton Center one night. Is that really representative of the community at large? So check it out. And like I've
Here,
said on
okay. Here,
previous
here,
shows,
here's what
everybody
I
should
got.
subscribe to the Caucus Facebook and email.
I don't know, man.
It's pretty long though. Maybe you get sticking into AI and have it
Yeah, I
translated
just
for you
did.
there.
Okay,
But did you?
what's in the proposal?
I don't have it
Uh,
in front of me right now since I'm in my car. But
red line changes to the current bylaws, a summary letter from the ad hoc bylaws committee, a list of parking lot matters, important takeaways. These are recommendations, not final proposals. Okay. The executive committee is still reviewing them and plans further discussion with the ad hoc committee. Any changes to the bylaws require 30-day notice to caucus members, external legal review, and a fundraising campaign of 10,000 to 20,000. Why no vote at the spring meeting, March 18th, 2025? More time is needed to carefully review and refine these changes before presenting them for a vote. The goal is to get it right, not just get it fast. Community feedback wanted. Caucus members and residents are encouraged to provide feedback on the proposed changes by emailing info@lakeforestcaucus.com. This input is essential to ensure. All right, there you go, Aridi. We
so
took care.
props to them. I mean, Joe did a lot. When Joe completes his term as president of the caucus, I'm going to nominate him to be the new ambassador to the Middle East for negotiating peace out there. Because if he can do that here.
And as far as the caucus, why do am I a news source or are we a news source in Lake Forest, even considered one?
Are we a news source, or are we a source of opinion that a lot of people listen to?
Yeah,
I
whatever.
mean, you have an opinion, I have opinions, and that's fine. So we don't really like, but that said, we've on many shows we've offered and have had people of different opinions on.
Before you put another log on the fire, my point is that why am I looking for Joe Aridi's email? Why isn't he sending me this stuff to put up?
Well, I think this is just hot off the press, and they may be putting it out in blast today. I just happened to notice it this morning.
Yeah, but you know what? There's
So
these things called, it used to be called press releases, or you would go to the news outlets, whatever you want to call us.
fair
And
point. No, I do think, and I've told this to a number of folks at the caucus and the city, that hey, like us or not, or like the podcast or not, podcasts are a new media. Let's go back to the 2023 mayoral election. Randy Tack went on this podcast. Prue Beidler did not. How did that work out? And we're certainly not the Joe Rogan podcast, but in
we are
last
for
year,
Lake Forest. I will
Donald
claim
Trump,
that.
I think proportionately we may be the Lake Forest, though. Donald Trump and JD Vance went on Rogan's podcast, and Kamala Harris and Tim, whatever his name was from Minnesota, they nope.
Tampon Tim,
And
that's his.
more people watched Trump's interview on the Joe Rogan podcast than they did Kamala Harris's interview on 60 Minutes, which we're now finding out was edited by CBS. But so I'm just saying that this is a new media. It's here to stay. And the White House press secretary, they now have the press conferences at the White House. They are now including podcasts. and newer media in the people that are there asking questions, and they've even got some people in there that are left wing. It's not just all right wing podcasts or anything like that.
So that would
They've
make
got a
sense for Joe
mix.
Aridi and the external communications team to like reach out and say, "Hey, this is what we're putting out."
I think it would make sense for anyone that wants to reach their citizens or residents or the community or the
Is that a
general
yes?
public in the year 2025. So yes, this is
Okay.
a new media. I mean, I guess maybe, maybe 50, 70 years ago, whenever TV first started, all the print reporters didn't want the TV reporters at White House press conferences, maybe. I don't know. But this is the newest media. I mean, look at how JFK beat Nixon because he knew how to use TV better than Nixon did. I mean, this is the latest chapter in
So it
that.
just goes to show you, unless they really want something, they're not going to, reach out. That's the Lake Forest Caucus.
Well, like I said, I've taught a lot of people. I mean, look, Joe has been on this show. I've lost count of how many times, so I give him credit. But and look, we've had a lot of other people on. I think we're trying to work on a good guest about something that's come up in the news here, not with the city, but just in the area. I'll tell you offline, but hopefully we get him on soon. I think it'll be a good show. But and we've got one of the candidates for College of Lake County coming up, who's from Jan Gibson. Is coming up next week. She lives here in the area. I think she lives either in Lake Forest or Lake Bluff. Forgive me. We'll find out when she's on next week. But she's been around here in this area, very active, nice person. I met her at something and invited her to come on, and she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we'll have, and anybody else that's running for CLC. I mean, she's been endorsed by Bill Griffin, who you and Scoo had on a couple years ago. He lives here in Lake Forest. I think he's a neighbor of Scoo's. People are welcome to come on. We've proven ourselves that we can have different points of view on here. We had Brad Schneider and Jim Karras, who were running against each other. We had them on separate shows. So everybody's welcome to come on and get an audience. And I was at Encore Club. I don't know if there's Newcomers Club, but there's also Encore Club. They had a bocce night the other night in Highwood. I don't know if you've ever been to the Highwood Bocce Club. It's a really cool place. And we had bocce night. And we had several people there that live in town come up to me and either say, "Hey, I watch you and Pete on the podcast, love it, don't love it, but watch it." But then what was really interesting, I've had people come up to me there and couple other places and say, "Hey, do you know what's going on with this or that happening in town? Because you're on that show and maybe you hear about it or know about it or have some inside info." Just
I'd
curious
know more about it
about that. So
if if Joe Aridi or Dana Olson or whatever would reach out and say, "Hey, we got these things going on." Who's got better social media skills, Dana Olson or Joe Aridi?
they have different jobs. So I don't know. Joe is political, obviously, in getting the caucus uh, functions going and stuff, whereas Dana is
All right, the
governmental and
exterior
doing.
marketing, the exterior, whatever you call it, external
So
marketing
I think
person
they
for the
both are
caucus.
good in what they do. They both are good in what they do. Now, the city has chosen, to not put people on podcasts, and I've told
Yeah,
Jason,
why
I've
does
told the mayor and
Wikipedia
stuff
do that?
that. Well, I
What's
I
he
think
afraid of?
um, I think
Jason,
they
what are you
were
afraid of, buddy?
concerned. Can I tell you what I think? And that is, I think there was a concern at one point when the two podcasts were going on that if they went on one, they'd have to go on the other, and the other one was really attacking the caucus, and they didn't want to go on that
What about
one. But
before
if they
that
went on
other
this
show?
one, it would look heavy-handed and stuff like that. So, but that other one hasn't done a show in a while now, right? I mean, go look at when the last time you had
No, they just
on
put
topic
what's
Lake
her face
Forest or
from
the NPR Lake.
the Chamber of Commerce lady up.
Oh, they had her on. Okay, so maybe we'll have her on too. But my take, my 2 cents is have them go on both. Go on both. Brad Schneider went on both. That's fine.
Yeah, but why didn't they
Um,
come on before the
Jim
other
Karras went, and
podcast?
and
Like,
so did Jim Karras. So did Jim Karras. I don't know. Like I said, I think people need to realize that this is the new media. This show gets watched more than anything else in Lake Forest in terms of local content. So, and a lot of that is your credit, Pete, because of people tune in because they don't know what you're going to say and they want to see what Pete's going to say. They want to see what hat Pete's wearing every week and all
Is that why
sorts of
they
stuff
tune in?
that
Then
I've
don't
heard people
tune in.
say.
You got better things to do,
I've
Lake
had people
Forest.
joke to I've had people joke to me like, "Hey, I always want to see what hat Pete is wearing every week." So I don't know. It's kind of a joke, but the point is, and this isn't about me or about you. You should have Abe Lincoln's. Today we're recording on Wednesday, February 12th, and that's Abe Lincoln's birthday.
Happy
So you should
birthday,
have
Ed.
your stovepipe. You should have an Abe Lincoln hat. What is the hat you have on now? I'm sorry, I can't really see it on my
Nothing.
phone here.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. But more importantly, people watch and people engage, and you either you either get trampled by the bull or you jump on the bull and ride it by the horns. Matt Montgomery is a great example of that. I mean, you did how many shots at Matt Montgomery over the years, but he finally started coming on and he wants to come on again. So we need to work that out with him. And Matt has realized the power of coming on the show and giving his side of something. So I give Dr. Montgomery credit on that. And there's a couple of issues that have popped up since I saw him last that maybe it would be good for him to come on. I've heard,
Like what?
this whole thing about they wouldn't allow. Couple of things. Somebody forwarded me an email from one of the schools. Forgive me that I can't remember that they're not doing parent-teacher conferences this year unless there's a problem with your student. So that parents that everything they think is okay, they won't automatically do one unless the parent requests it. I believe was how the email was forwarded. Is that, and maybe that is the right thing to do, but is that, I think that I've heard from a couple parents like, hey, why are they doing this? You should meet with every parent and talk with them, and even if they don't want it, you should be doing that, because parenting is more than just getting good grades and stuff. But I don't know. I'd like to hear Matt's take on that. I think the other issue that came up was he had some meeting or something that they wouldn't put on Zoom or record, so people who didn't attend the meeting could watch it.
This
Opinions
all
from people.
started with, look, we're doing a show, and I just happened to trip over something from O'Ready, and I would think that it should be easier for me to get information on those guys by them reaching out and sending something that isn't
I
a
don't know.
chat.
This just happened. This, like I said, this is hot off the press. Maybe we'll give Joe a call and we'll get him on. I wouldn't hold that against
Nah,
him because he's
I
been
want
on this
Regina.
show quite a few times over the years.
Yeah, but
Okay, well,
he's
we'll
gone.
ask her too. I mean, she's not the president yet, though. In fairness to Joe, I mean, don't count Joe out till he's
He's a
out.
lame
So,
duck. Quack,
um,
quack.
Trump's a lame duck the day he got sworn in because he's term limited.
What do you,
So, let's.
I
He can't serve. This is it. He's
have
done
you
in
ever
four
seen a
years, man.
president do more than what this guy's doing now, or you can't give any credit to what he's doing because he
I
just
give
don't like
credit on the econ. No, there's things I like about him, and there's things I don't. I voted for him, but
so,
like I
so
said,
has he done
focus
more
on
now than any other president has done in his first,
in
month
my lifetime. Yes. Now I'm told FDR did a lot when he got sworn in 1932.
when he took everybody's gold away?
33.
He took
I
everybody's
think
gold away and then
he's
doubled the price. Sorry,
yeah. But
Joe.
so we
I'm in
should
one
bring
of those
back the gold
moods today.
standard. All right. If you can remember something from 1933, God bless you.
Well,
All I
gold
know,
standard, that's why we keep
but
printing this money.
in
There's
my
nothing that.
well, we should. Yeah, that's a good question for people. I'd like to
Well,
hear
hold on.
some
Let's talk
some
about
some.
Well, if you want to talk about FDR, let's talk about him because his New Deal, he took everybody's gold away, doubled the price, and paid for all that stuff. It got us out of a a, a bad situation, but we've been in trouble ever since, with the exception of Clinton in the 90s.
Did
But
the
I
New Deal? Here's what conservative Joe will say is: Did the New Deal end the Great Depression, or did World War II end the Great Depression?
There's nothing
I think
better
it
for a
was. I
depression
think it
than
was the
war.
war.
That's why everybody likes war like you, Joe.
Well, it's just, well, I don't like war, but sometimes you need to fight a smaller war to prevent a bigger war. I mean, if we had entered World War II a lot earlier, I think it would have been a lot less bloody of a war. You would have prevented the Holocaust. There's a lot of things. I mean, same thing with World War One. If we entered that one earlier, I think it would have been a lot. There would have been a lot less lives lost than there ultimately were. So, sometimes I wish there was never a war again, but sometimes you got. I'm a big believer in peace through strength. I think Reagan Reagan won the Cold War without firing a single shot. That's great. And if Trump can do that, great, because I don't want to see any American blood spilled. But unfortunately, we've also seen in the course of history times where not entering a conflict at all or too late has resulted in more bloods. So, and World War One and World War II are both very good examples of that.
Joe, what did you say you did for an activity? Because I want to respond with what I did for an activity. You're playing bocce ball. What did
Activity.
you do?
Bocce, yeah. You ever played bocce?
No.
The Highwood Bocce is the it's like a regulation. They have national tournaments. They've had national championships there and stuff. They bring in guys every so often from Italy to maintain the courts and stuff. They take their bocce very seriously at this Highwood Bocce Club there, right in the center
Well,
of it's right near there.
while you're at the bocce
But
club, I'm at the North Shore Sports Club
oh yeah, what'd you do?
with a 44 blowing away from
Oh,
targets. What a
that kind of
great
sports
joint.
club. There you go.
That is first time I've ever done the shooting there. I went with my nephew. What a fun place. What a fun place. I
Is
recommend that.
that is that Lake? Where is that Lake Bluff?
Over
Lake
by the
Forest? Where is it?
silo, over by the silo in the industrial complex over
Oh,
there,
on
off
176
of
there. Yeah,
176 down there. They got a hell of a
off of
burger.
176.
We had the manager on the show, 2, 3 years ago. I'm going to put the link to the episode there. First time I went there, you go in there and you rent your gun, you get your ammo, you get your targets, you put them up, and I suggest you wear glasses.
Oh, the goggles. Yeah, I'm sure
Well,
they don't require it.
no, you got to wear the eyewear because those
Okay,
the casings fly out and hit you.
man.
But very interesting time, good time. And when it's sunny, snowy like today, we're going to get about 6 inches of snow. You got to be inside. That was a good time. So I vouch.
So this is an indoor. This was an indoor shooting, not an
Indoor
outdoor
range,
shooting.
yeah, indoor range.
Indoor range. Okay.
Indoor range. They got a bar inside the place, which was
Please
closed.
don't. Please drink after you. I assume you drink after you've completed your shooting, right at the bar.
But there's some votes that they have the best
Excuse me.
burger in Lake Forest. Sorry, guys.
Are they really Lake Forest or are they Lake Bluff? Or are they
Lake
Knollwood? What
Forest.
are they there?
Lake Forest, right on the
Oh, okay.
right before Knollwood. But
Okay.
we
Um,
should go there, Joe. Are you allowed to pick up a gun?
yeah, let's absolutely. Why wouldn't I be?
All right,
Do you need a
good.
permit though? I don't have a concealed carry permit.
You
I've
don't need one.
always wanted to get one, but okay.
You don't need one. You just go, you rent the gun, you buy the ammunition, get something to protect your ears because it is loud in there. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we
I've
had
had
it.
some friends go there, actually, and they go. I had a good friend of mine. He went there, and then they went to Silo afterwards for their. Silo's got some good pizza there and some good ribs actually too. Silo's an institution.
Silo's an institution, but I don't know. I've been there a couple times and I don't know, maybe a third time's a
You know the
charm.
trains. You see the trains that are up at Silo. Those were done by the same guy that did the trains at Lantern back in the day. And he
Did he
used
steal
to
them all from the
own.
lantern?
No, he's unfortunately passed away, but he owned what is now Gerhardt's before Mary did.
I did not know that.
His last name. I worked with his son uh, a few years ago, and we still keep in touch. Veely, his last name was Veely, Veile. his son's name is Marcus. I can't remember what the dad's name was. They were friends with Mary. Marcus still, when he comes into town, goes and sees Mary. Mary loves him. Uh, but he did the trains at Lantern and Silo back in the day. I think before it was Gerhardt's, it was called Lake Forest Bakery,
Well,
and the Vealeys owned it for many years.
hopefully some of those trains got back because right before
Yeah,
Beth,
that really
they,
was a crappy thing. There's trains in there now. We had
well,
lunch at
people don't know what
Lantern.
we're talking about.
Yeah, they have the trains up, and I guess a couple of years ago, you and Scoot did a show on this. I think was it those Lake Forest college kids on a Friday night or a Saturday night, all drunk, and they stole some of the trains or damaged it. What
There
what
was
what
there was
was it
no
again?
oversight of the place, and you had a college kid running things, and they ripped off all the trains, including one of mine.
That's that's a shame.
I want
Well,
my
you had a
train back.
train?
Yeah, I had a train. Neuronoodle Express.
I didn't know that. I know Scoot had a train for Dakota Insurance, but
No, he
I know
didn't.
there's a Swart auto body train I've noticed. But they got trains going around now. So if you go in there for lunch, and I know you like to sit in the bar area, but there is if you sit in the dining area, you see the trains go around. It's really neat. If you got little kids, they'd really love it. Great experience. And like I said, Silo's got trains too, done by Mr. Vealey as well.
Then before the Super Bowl, stopped by to see our guy Joe Neasley over at Chiefs.
Oh yeah, were they a Chiefs bar that day?
Supposedly
Like
that's what they are, or they were.
Duffers
They
was
were.
Duffers was the Eagles bar.
Duffers is always
Lantern
happy.
was the referee bar.
No, Lantern was the
Hey,
halftime
Chiefs is
show
a
bar.
look,
How about that halftime show?
good Lord. Next
That was
year, I
horrible.
vote for Morgan. I vote for Morgan Wallen next year for
Bob
halftime. What do
Morgan.
you think about that?
Bob Morgan, we're
No,
gonna have him
Morgan,
show.
Bob Morgan, State Representative Bob Morgan.
He's gonna do
Uh,
a halftime show.
I think, yeah, I don't know who would watch outside of his district, but on a national, I think remember when they first started doing like halftime shows that weren't just marching bands or up with people during the Super Bowl. They started with some really really big names back. You had Springsteen, Michael Jackson before all of his
Like real
scandals
music.
and stuff. You had Prince. You had people that were household words. You had I think the Stones or the Who did it one year. They had Chubby Checker, who just got named to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this morning, I heard. So that Chubby Checker did the Super Bowl halftime one year. So they moved to that because you wanted to get the big name that would draw everyone. And I think the last few years, it's gotten away from that. Now, part of that is the music industry is so fragmented now because you and I, when we grew up, we listened to WLS or whatever radio station, and that's how we heard what was the hits. Kids today, they're on Spotify and all that stuff. So the music industry is much more fragmented. So I'm told Kendrick Lamar is huge, a huge selling artist, and
Sucked.
um,
It
now
was horrible.
he tried to
God
make it.
awful.
I guess he made it into what I don't like is when they try to make political statements in there because I guarantee you, if a conservative artist, like I mean, he's passed away now, but if Toby Keith had done it, or Lee Greenwood, um, and tried to make a political statement, the left would have gone nuts. So I just like keep the politics out of it. And like I said, I think Morgan Wallen is huge. He's big in country. He's big in pop now. And I think if they had Morgan Wallen next year, the ratings would be huge for it
I don't
because I
know.
think
That
he's
was the
about as
worst.
big of a household. How
I'm
do they
not
bring
the
back
only.
Taylor Swift? I don't know. Everybody knows who Taylor Swift is. Did she
Yeah,
do a halftime show
yeah.
at
And
one
she
point? I
got
mean, now
booed.
I know she's there because of her because of Kelsey, but
Kelsey's gone.
you
Did
know,
you see? Did
but
you see
Taylor
Trump?
Swift is the number one selling artist in the world, musical artist in the world. So it would
Everybody
make
needs 12-year-olds. I
it
get
would
it.
draw. I know like a lot, but again, I like to. I'm as political as anybody, and I like to keep when I'm not doing politics, when I'm watching sports, when I'm listening to music. I don't want politics in that stuff. I want to watch a football game. I want to hear
Okay.
a good song.
So what happened when the camera
I don't
went
want
to
to
Trump
hear.
and the camera went to Swift? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Uh,
Boo!
Trump got cheered and Swift got booed, which whatever. I
Why is
I don't
that?
really. Again, why is
You
that?
got
Because when you
80,000
get
people in
a
the place. Are you
stadium,
telling me those?
because you get a stadium full of sports fans, most of them lean conservative. That's why. Okay. I mean, it was football fans in there, and I think the crowd leaned heavily Eagles
I don't think Democrats,
because the
unless they're in
Chiefs have been,
Congress, can afford the seats.
the
Never mind.
Chiefs are the the Chiefs are have been to the Super Bowl so much that people aren't spending money for Super Bowl tickets, their fan base as much as they used to. They're kind of a victim of their own success. If you listen when the two teams came out, the Eagles clearly got a bigger round of applause because there were more Philadelphia Eagles fans. Now, the city of Philadelphia itself is a Democratic stronghold, but you get out there to the state of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. They're not a state. Um, Look, Trump won that, and I think a lot of those suburban Eagles fans, whether they're in Jersey, and a lot of their fans are in New Jersey because Philly's right next to New Jersey. So I think that those tend to be, conservative people, especially a lot of law enforcement guys, a lot of first responders. Those people tend to be conservative. That said, I mean, I can remember the World Series. I think it was when the Washington Nationals were in it, and Trump got booed at the World Series a few years ago, but that was because it was in Washington, D.C., and the D.C. elites don't like him and stuff. But I mean, he goes to a NASCAR event, he gets cheered royally. He goes to a college football game, he gets cheered royally because it's usually, um, that his fan base there. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it is the economy, stupid. And people are going to love Trump or hate Trump based on how they feel about their wallet. So that's why all this stuff like renaming the Gulf of Mexico and all that stuff is silly distraction. Um, Cutting taxes, cutting spending, which he's off to a great start. Well, he's off to a great start on cutting the spending. Now, give me the tax cuts, please. Um, let's
Yeah, you
if
got
he
to
can
pay
turn the
for them
economy around,
first.
get inflation. Absolutely. And that's why you need to cut spending. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of Republicans made over the years, including Ronald Reagan, that they cut taxes way more than they cut spending. You need to do both. And look, we're finding that there is a lot of waste. Now, the Democrats will do what they've always done whenever there's been attempts to cut budgets. They'll make it sound like you're hurting people and hurting poor people, hurting veterans, hurting seniors, the whole thing you've seen. But we're seeing stuff that other than the people who work in those programs, no one, no one is benefiting from this. There is so much crap. And I was trying to say earlier that I used to work at the state in a program that was partially funded by federal grants. This is like 30 years ago. And I can remember there was an attitude back then. The state, this is when Edgar was governor. So Edgar was a pretty conservative, fiscally conservative governor. Um, they would, if it was state dollars, they would watch it very closely and make sure we were doing things efficiently. But when it was a federal grant, they're like, "Oh, it's a federal grant. Who cares?" And I mean, that's just wrong because it's still our money. So I'm glad he's brought Elon in to look at that
Well,
and
okay,
cut
you
a
brought
lot of
up,
the fat out.
all right, you brought Elon up again. Do you think it's possible, and being you in your current situation in your career and everything, do you think it's fair to judge a government entity like a business? i.e., profit and loss, make smart business decisions?
They're not exactly the same, but there's a lot of similarities. A businessman or businesswoman, business person, can just say, "Hey, we're going to do this," and it's happening. A government, whether it's a governor or a president, Bruce Rauner learned this too. You got to work with people. I mean, the reason Trump is doing what he's doing now that he couldn't do before is he has a Republican Congress that is not saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you can't do that," and putting the brakes on it. You got Chucky Schumer and the usual suspects screaming bloody murder, but you have, by a very narrow margin, a Republican Senate and a Republican House, and they're not stopping it. Now, if the Democrats win enough seats in the midterm election next year to take back the House and or Senate, then these executive orders can be stopped by the Democratic Congress. Now, so that's what's different between running the government and running a business. Business owner can do whatever they want. The government, you have a legislative check in there that can stop it.
Aren't the American people business owners? Don't we own America with our vote? Didn't
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely. And I think that is a big part of why Trump did better across the country and won swing voters in swing states, because I think people were, again, I say this phrase so much, it's the economy, stupid. They didn't feel good about how things were going, and so they want to see that. So yeah, I do think there's a lot of outrage about spending and who doesn't want a tax cut, right? I mean, we all pay
Well, that's
so
my
much in
point.
all our
So
taxes.
this is what the people voted for, and he's delivering. And anybody that
Yeah.
goes against it, I think they're on the wrong side of history. And as each day goes on and we find more billions lost to
Well,
these
look, let's take our friend and
condoms and
former guest.
pal.
Let's take our friend and former guest, Congressman Brad Schneider. All right. Since Trump has gone into office, Schneider sounds like Nancy Pelosi, and I think it's because he's running. He's not running again for that congressional seat on the North Shore. I think he's trying to run for U.S. Senate statewide and win a very contested Democratic primary. So he's gearing towards the Democratic base much more than he did when he was the nominee here on the North Shore in the 10th congressional district. So you know, is cutting taxes and spending popular everywhere in the country? No, but I think it's popular with enough people that it's a winning message. I've always been a fiscal conservative, and I think the Republican Party would do much better in a lot of elections if they just focused on that and stay away from some of the other crap that they get involved in. I shouldn't say crap, because I get it. Abortion is a very serious issue to a lot of people on both sides. But
Abortion's not
my
coming up
opinion,
here.
no, it's not. But right now, it's not. But if when that Dobbs decision happened in 22, it sure did. And when some other states like Indiana started banning it, that was political suicide for the GOP. No offense, and I get it. I have family members that are pro-life, very passionately pro-life, and I respect their point of view. But I'm telling you, as a political person, as a person that tries to win elections, it's a losing point of view, especially around here. So focus on the taxes, focus on the spending. Again, Gulf of Mexico, who cares? I could care less what it's called. All right, that's silly. That's such a silly distraction. And more importantly, I think it gives people on the left ammo to criticize him and poke him in the face on it and distract from the winning message of cutting taxes and spending. And I think
Representative
there's some other
Brad
things too. I
Schneider.
think
Representative Brad Schneider. Musk and his minions aren't elected officials. Correct. Government employees,
neither
Senate
was George Soros.
right. But
Okay.
like a business, like we talked about before, you do bring in third parties that are smarter than you, I would think, to give you advice on
Biden
what
brought in George Soros. Obama brought in George Soros. Come on.
Speaker Johnson must immediately bring forward legislation to protect your private information. You know what? Protect my money, Brad. I
I
want
think
my
they
money
have this
back.
conspiracy that Elon is going to take all of this data and use it to sell people stuff. And Elon doesn't need to take
I don't
people's
think he
data to
needs it,
sell
nor does
stuff
he
to them.
care. Did you see him
No,
bring did you see him bring his kid into the Oval Office?
yes, I saw his kid at the rally in the Capital One arena during the inauguration weekend.
How
Little
can a press
X, is that
reporter,
his? How do you the kid's name is X?
how do you attack a
And they need to
guy
cut
with
they need to cut the sugar down on that kid, but that's another story.
how do you how do you attack a guy when he has his kid around his neck? And then the other thing that I saw was the kid was picking his nose, and then Trump looked over it and looked like he was going to hurl. You didn't see that?
I didn't catch that part. No, I didn't
Oh, yeah.
catch that. Pretty
I
funny.
catch these things. That's
Just,
why I'm
I
here.
just at the end, I just think it's the end game. What's the end game? If you can make people feel better about their daily life with get the cost of living under control by lowering taxes and spending, that's a winner.
I
That's
think
a winner every time. That's how Reagan got reelected in a landslide in 1984. That's how Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush in 1992. People didn't feel good about the economy then.
I think they're all
So,
shit. They
yeah.
were all shit. I think this is the first time in my lifetime where I feel like something is happening that can make a difference in government to get us over this bullshit.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think Ronald Reagan is looking down very happy about what Trump and Elon are doing because he wanted to do that, but he just couldn't. He had the entire time Reagan was president, there was a Democratic House of Representatives. They controlled the Senate off and on during his time, but the House was always democratically controlled. So there was that check on him. So he couldn't get everything done he wanted to do. And by his own, if you go read his autobiography, he says his biggest regret was he couldn't tackle spending like he did wanted to do. So I think I think Reagan's pretty impressed with that. Now Reagan would probably, if Reagan could talk to Trump through that painting that's up in the Oval Office, he would say, Donald, just focus on that and quit doing
I think
some of the
Reagan
other
could
crazy
at
stuff.
the
I
end
think
because he was a little Biden-esque at the end, wasn't he? Nancy was running things.
he wasn't as bad as Joe Biden was. Remember, Ronald Reagan was younger on his last day in office than
I don't know
Joe
about
Biden
younger,
was on
but
his first day in office.
whatever.
So, yeah, there were some. Look, Iran Contra that just happened. That shouldn't have happened, and yeah, he did get I mean, look, it came out later he had Alzheimer's, though they've interviewed doctors about Alzheimer's who said based on how his life ended and how the diagnosis came in 1994, there's no way he had it when he was president in the 80s. So look, like I said, Reagan wasn't perfect. He admitted, he said that in his autobiography. I made mistakes. I mean, Reagan was a very humble man,
It was misquoted in his
and which Trump
autobiography.
could take a lesson from. But yeah.
All right, Joe, before we split, it's Wednesday and it's snowing. Give us a little snow check. What's going on out there? Out the window.
You want to see out here?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you see that through the window? Here, I'll open the door.
Yeah, I see it. Perfect.
Can you see that?
Right, that's where we're at. Okay. Not so bad. Not so
Here's
bad.
that's your weather. That's your weather update. Hold on, let me turn my engine turned
That's
off here, so I'm losing the sound.
hear
But can you hear me now?
This is our Les Nessman report. Joe Weiss.
You know, you know how they put those poor reporters out on the street, like all the local TV stations when there's snow
Yeah.
out there. Why don't they just save that footage and just use it every year? Because it's the same story. It's like, oh, there's a lot of snow and IDOT crews are out working the expressway, and all that. The flights are delayed at O'Hare and Midway, and it's like, why don't they put these poor reporters out there who are like from Georgia and have never been in snow before, so they think an inch of snow is a blizzard, but whatever. I don't know. I just
Joe Weiss. I think the internet's okay. I don't think we broke it.
We're not clogging the internet. Remember that whole?
Blush. Joe
Well,
Weiss.
we'll get it. We're going to have a good guest on next week, and I'm working on another good guest. We may do either a future week or maybe a special show. Let's see what happens here.
All right, Joe. Take care. Peace. Make
Take
America
care.
even greater again. Michelle Parnell has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit laracycpa.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. We offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, and J.M.